Huzzah, Rangers. It's not who you thought it was. It's Chris, call sign Bozo6. Uncle Phil gave me the keys tonight. We'll see if it's a mistake. I am joined with or by Diamond Dave. Dave, how the hell are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Chris, how you doing?
I'm stumbling a little bit out of the gates, not used to being in the hot seat, used to just chilling like a villain. But here we go. Before we get going and before I forget, just wanted to say that this episode is sponsored by Inkify, custom printing and embroidery since 2010. Inkify provides high quality decorated apparel nationwide. From ordering the apparel to printing, adding a private label, folding, bagging, and fulfillment, they handle it all so you don't have to. Visit inkify.com to get started on your order and tell them TJRS sent you, and you'll get 15% off your entire order. And that is a hell of a deal. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Nailed
Got
it.
it in the first take.
Got it in the first take. I'm official, a semi-pro. So what is going on, David? We are here for the San Diego preview.
Absolutely.
First, we're going to talk about some bye week stuff. So let's get right into it.
Yeah, a friend of ours is overseas currently, across the pond, and is in Northern Ireland hanging out with the Independents. Phil has gone to scout out the scene in Ireland and tag along with the players. I think he's expecting to do some segments out there, really exciting stuff. I think the players just got there, so like it's just beginning right now. But we have a little bit to look forward to there. Pretty exciting. The Independents are going to be playing Ulster. The Ulster A, obviously not going to be playing, Ulster. That'd be something though. So they're going to be playing an Ulster A development squad. I believe the plan is to do 3 30-minute halves. It's a really big squad that traveled, which is good. So they're structuring it that way so that they can get as much development time for as many players as they can. Really positive thing, and can't wait to find out a little bit more about that. John Poland, who is injured, is out there as well, coaching, so maybe we'll get a little bit of a check-in from him too. But pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely incredible opportunity for these young collegiate. Believe it's an under 23 side, so mostly college kids. What an incredible opportunity to just go to another nation and play an outstanding club side in Ulster. They've got a really good. I really think that all of the Irish provincial sides have great academies, great professional pathways, and so what better place to test yourself out there? We've had some really great developments over there since Uncle Philly Shamrocks. Philly Shamrocks, he's known a while over there on the Emerald Isle. So if you don't follow the Jacks Rangers social media like every hour, like myself, you may have missed, but Conor McGregor's Instagram account, it might not be actually him, but shared the Jacks Rangers show post of the Indies at, I believe, at the Roadhouse or the Black Forge Inn, whatever his thing over there is. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, really cool. You guys got like millions of followers and stuff. Pretty neat for the show to get a shout out like that. So hey, maybe there's a few people who are here listening right now because they heard about it from Conor McGregor. So welcome.
Yeah, that'd be incredible. Maybe someday he could be on the show. That would be unreal. I think their stream would probably implode with the amount of followers that it would get. Like just for people who follow him around on the internet, I'm not entirely sure. Just wanted to plug some other news. If you also weren't paying attention, Tavita Soleil, he has returned this week from the Miami Sharks loan deal. So that's awesome. He's on the Green Mountain Boys mini team. So I got him up on the wall behind me. You can't really see it, but
I love that
he's there. Some other news I wanted to plug. The frauds over there at MLR social media, they have selected Junior Gaffa again. I think if they knew he was originally a Free Jack, they wouldn't be selecting him so much because of their horrible bias. But that young man is playing out of his mind. Really cool to see him down there. And then one last plug for myself. Got to give myself a huge pat on the back. I'm finally in my rightful place atop the Ranger Picks, run by Ranger Payne. I have taken the lead. For all of you crying beneath me, you only have yourselves to blame. Just do better. You just got to be better than me. It's really not that hard. I don't know why you can't pull it off. So those are my plugs. Let's get into the San Diego preview, shall we?
Yeah, actually, I have one more plug before we
All right,
do.
that's fine. Let's go.
Phil's gonna love all our plugs. The USA Club Rugby National Championship is this weekend, and it's actually being broadcast on the Rugby Network. So it's
Oh,
down
hell
in
yeah.
Austin, Texas. Well, just outside Austin, Texas. Um, and the Charles River Rats are down there representing New England in the D3 semifinal. Boston Irish Wolfhounds are representing New England in the D2 semifinal. And if those teams win, they'll advance, and they will actually play the final the following day on Sunday, which is bananas. Play two rugby games one day after each other, no big deal. Um, so if you have a chance, tune in. It's all going to be broadcast on the Rugby Network. It's women's, men's, multiple divisions. It's most of the day, Saturday and Sunday. So in between those MLR matches, check out some club rugby. And let's go Rats, win this thing.
Yeah, I mean, hey, since we're not playing till Sunday, why not check out at least the first game on Saturday? Go
Yeah.
support the Wolfhounds and Charles River. That'd be incredible. All right, so San Diego preview, San Diego Legion. We are going there once again. They've never played us in Massachusetts at all. I think
I
under
know.
any circumstances, even under the old Fort Union Point, I don't think that they came out to play us. Pretty incredible stuff. If you remember correctly, we had seen a version of the schedule before the final had come out, and we were very excited to see that they
Yep.
were originally coming to Fort Quincy, but with the departure of Rugby United New York, or whatever the hell they're called, the Iron Workers, the schedule shuffled once again, and unfortunately, we are away to San Diego, Dave.
Yeah. It's a big trip. It's a lot of mileage, a lot of distance. And I haven't checked the weather for Sunday in San Diego, but I'm guessing a lot of weather difference too. It gets hot down there and sunny pretty early. So,
Yeah, I think that weather acclimation is always going to be a factor. Just like we get the advantage when teams come play us and it's cold and in March and stuff like that. The reverse is also true. I would say though, our Free Jacks have been a pretty fit team, and the heat really affects that fitness. If you're not acclimated to it, I know that the team travels well. I know that they're professional athletes, but as someone who's gone from very cold to very hot before, it really takes your body, a week or so to get used to that. So there just simply isn't enough time. They're not showing up a week early. Luckily, it was super warm today. I don't know about down in Massachusetts, but here in central New Hampshire, it got to 70. So I'm sure the boys were loving that.
yeah, we were hitting 75 around the Boston area today, so it was definitely a nice day. And I just checked; it looks about just going to be in the 60s in San Diego this weekend. So
Oh,
maybe
beautiful.
not too much of a heat punishment. That'll play to our strengths, I think, a little bit. We'll talk about
Well, they
that as we
will,
keep going.
yeah, they will be playing through the hottest part of the day. The kickoff is 4 p.m. Eastern, so that'll be 1 p.m. out there on the West Coast. So we'll be getting through the hottest part of the day, right at the tail end of it there, and it should be the temperature should drop as the match goes on. But so, what are your
Yeah.
initial thoughts with San Diego? Let's kick this thing off.
I always take a look through personnel first of all, just kind of try to get an idea of what we're looking at. And I'm going to start with a prop. I love Chris Bowman. He hasn't been playing that much. He's a little older, but he's a player right out of the '80s. You look at him and you're like, this guy play now? Did he get out of a time machine? He's a fun grizzled veteran of a tight head prop. A lot of USA caps on him. Their second row is really formidable. Isaac Ross and Greg Peterson are 6'7", 6'8". It could be a really tough day in the lineout with those guys jumping. I think Isaac Ross has been out of the lineup a little bit dinged up, but you never know when he's gonna come back. He's a looming threat. Charlie Hewitt is up there as well. He's 6'7". So they have a lot of really good jumping options in the lineout, and it's a place they can compete pretty well. I'm going to shout out a Scotland player, Blair Cowan, the captain of San Diego. We don't have to talk about the fact that he's not Scottish. He is a real menace. He's a Kiwi, but he played 18 caps for Scotland. He's a serious menace. He's a bit of a hit stick. They also have the flanker flavor of Patty Ryan, U.S. Eagle. We have multiple flavors of Patty Ryan. You got prop flavor, you got flanker flavor. Chicago has prop flavor. San Diego has flanker flavor, and he's a pretty handy guy. The elephant in the room, though, is really we're looking at Matt Giteau at possibly he came off the bench last week. He's just joined the club. Well, 2 weeks ago, they had a bye week last week, just like we did. Um, and he has 103 Australia caps. If you don't know who Matt Giteau is, if you didn't follow international rugby, like more like 10 years ago when he was really in his prime, in his heyday, he's a really solid playmaker. He played mostly center, a wild card. He's the guy who, if you broke the line, like you get a line break. I don't know about you, Chris, but if I broke the line, I knew I was probably not going to finish those 40
Same.
more
Yep.
meters, right?
Looking to
He's
pass
the guy
immediately.
you're looking to pass. Exactly. You're like, okay, guys, I did the hard part. Is there somebody who runs better? He's the
Yep.
guy that if you look and you see him, you're like, oh hell yeah, you do it. Like that's his whole uh, him in a nutshell. I think he's the guy you want on your hip when you break the line. Um, and yeah, see Velheim getting some comments. I'm glad Giteau looked good 2 weeks ago. He's legit. He has won championships in every country he has played. In Australia, he won with the Brumbies. In France, he won with Toulon, both French championship and like a Euro championship. In Japan, he won with Suntory Sungoliath. And in the U.S., he won with the LA Asterisk Teenies. I mean, that's not luck, right? Nobody
Yeah.
lucks their way into, one, two. I think he won like three when he was in Europe. That's like
Or 100
six.
caps.
Yeah, 100 caps and six championships. The guy is just. I think he motivates people around him. He honestly seems like he'd be a pretty fun guy to have on your team, right? Like he's a competitor, but he's a little bit of a joker. Seems like a solid guy. Um, and then you could have him at 10 because he does play fly half. It looks like he's leaning that way with the Legion. He's versatile enough to play, fly half center. He could probably play anything you wanted. But you might have him at 10 and then Ma Nonu at 12, who
Yeah.
also has 103 caps. But for New Zealand, they played against each other a ton. They competed for the same inside center jersey in France when they both, were playing for Toulon, and they are just an embarrassment of riches in the midfield for San Diego. Like it's crazy to have two of these guys. These are both Hall of Famers, right?
Right.
On the same team, playing in positions that impact each other. Nonu was an incredible line break center, right? That was his thing. He was just an automatic tackle breaker. And since then, he has added a lot of tools to his toolbox. I mean, he's also gotten a little bit older, so now his kicking, kind of cheeky and tactical kicking, is really good. It's part of his game that he's developed. He's really improved his passing game, and I mean improved since like 20 years ago when he was
Yeah.
a new guy, right? Like he came onto the scene as just this unstoppable force, and then he continued to evolve and develop since then. And he's a really tremendous player. He also had a couple errors in that last time these teams played each other. Remind me who won last time they met.
Yeah, it
Who was
was us,
that?
Dave. A knock on from Nanu, and then I don't know if it was considered a knock on, but I believe it was just a dropped pass off his shoulder, and it went backwards, scooped up by Mitch Jacobson for the opening try of the championship. So two critical Nanu errors, but also don't. I think he shot up out of the line, missed
Yeah,
missed Larue Milan, who scored the game-winning try. That's right. Yeah, not a good day. Not a good day at the office for
not
him.
a good day. Not a good day. I
Not a
was
good day
telling
for one of the greatest centers of all time.
I was telling people at work this week about being there and watching him decline to take pictures after the game. Politely, I gotta say, like, I can't blame him. It's up to him if he wants to take a picture with somebody. And he wasn't like rude to anybody, but just like, no. The answer
Yeah,
to, hey, can I take a picture with you after you just lost this championship game, legendary rugby player Vanonu, was a polite no. That's okay. Not right now.
good for
It
him.
was,
I'm glad he did that. Good for
yeah,
him.
and well, he was bothered, right? This is not.
Yeah,
We talk about these guys. It's easy to dismiss them as just like, they're cashing a check, whatever. They're on a retirement tour. I really don't think so. I think both of these players are very competitive guys. I think they're playing because they enjoy it. not because they desperately need the paycheck they get for playing in the MLR. And I think it's pretty cool that they're on a team together, and I hope we beat the bag out of them.
I don't think we're going to beat the bag out of him, Dave. There's some interesting things that I wanted to mention and go over for this match. It's a very strangely, I feel like on paper, even match. Free Jacks in their last
Yes.
three are loss, win, loss. Legion last three are win, loss, loss. We have a common loss in an opponent in Seattle, and both teams have also suffered like heart-wrenching 1 point losses at home. Also wanted to note, you corrected me before the show, which thank God you did. San Diego not undefeated at Snapdragon. They do have a loss. A couple weeks ago, I think you said, to Utah. That was
Yeah.
their 1 point loss. But I don't think that they've lost other than that at Snapdragon. And so I think they're like 11-1, 10-1 type of deal. So very difficult, just like Fort Quincy, very difficult to win out there. And then interestingly enough, San Diego sits in third place out west. Obviously, Seattle and Houston have won a ton of games, ton of bonus points. So they're really high on the table points, and they're sitting on 30 table points, as are we. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a very interesting matchup. I think it's going to be a close encounter. The only thing that I would also add is, so I compared the two sides that they. I won't go name by name because that'll take far too long. But they were mostly the same makeup with some key notable differences between the two. But San Diego suffered quite a walloping loss to Houston, 33-0. I would just caution Free Jacks fans, just because we beat Houston on the road and then they beat the bag out of San Diego like 33-0. I would not read into that. Like I said, they were missing a couple of key players. They also had a lot of their good players. So I didn't watch the match. I don't know what happened to them, but I would just caution Free Jacks fans, like, just because we beat Houston does not mean we're going to go out to San Diego and beat the bag out of these guys. I think they're a very good team.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a challenge. I think you're right to draw attention to the parallels. They're both 6-3. They both have 30 table points. We happen to be in first, and they're in
Right.
third. I don't think it's any secret that the West is a little bit tougher of a conference. So, I think they really have a lot in common. And it sort of begs the question. So, like, okay, what is the difference then, right? Um, they're deep in the same way we are. They're not as injured. Um, I think that makes it a really difficult matchup for us because we are missing a lot of guys. We know that, well, we don't know, but I would expect that Patros and Reese McDonald may both still not be available. We haven't seen much indication that they will be. That's just speculation, of course, but we could be
Right.
down both of those guys. I'm guessing we will be. I'd love to be wrong, of course. Uh, we know about John Poland, Vian Conradi. Mitch Jacobson has been down. May see him come back. We have a lot of really important players who are out, and that I think really tips the scale towards San Diego's favor. That coupled with the fact that it's a road game makes it a really tough matchup for us.
Right.
And the big difference is going to be age. Not everybody on San Diego is old. They're scattered around the team like chips in a chocolate chip cookie, right? And
Yeah.
just enough to make it fun, little sweet nuggets. But
Yeah.
everybody I talked about, not to, love to talk to these guys. That'd be cool. Everybody I talked about in the lead up, the youngest of them is 37, right? Chris
Right.
Bowman's 37. Ross and Peterson are some of the older guys in the league. Blair Cowan's 38. Gito is 41. No News 42. Um,
Teo's old.
yeah,
Older. I mean, I
Teo's
don't know how old
older.
he is, but
He's in his 30s. I
yeah.
think he's like 32, something like that. Might
Yeah.
be a little older. That's the difference. Now, they're not geriatric. Some of the guys, when you're past 40, you're definitely playing the game a little bit differently than you did 20 years prior, probably, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But I think that is where we would want to look to create a difference, right? If I'm looking at these teams and saying, man, they have some good depth, um, they have a lot of experience. What can we do? How can we try to challenge that? I think that you look um, to leverage what you've got, which is a pretty young team, and you say, all right, guys, we want pace all day.
Yeah, for sure. I think we need to put the pace on them. But the only thing that I say to people is like, other like other unlike other stars that have transitioned to MLR and kind of flamed out like Ben Foden, Matthew Bassarode, Chris Robshaw, etc. It's like,
Yep.
Robshaw's a flanker. It's a high churn position. Like the body just kind of wasn't there anymore. And although
Yeah.
flankers can have a tremendous impact on a team, I don't think anybody would argue that they're not going to have more impact than like a 10 or something like to that effect. And I would just say that the thing about Nanu and Gito, although they are basically in a pro athlete terms, they are geriatric. They played the game at such a high level for so long, and the game that they played on that international level, multiple World Cups, Super
Yeah.
Rugby, top 14, it was just so much faster and the skills so much sharper throughout their careers. So I think that they're ready for stuff like that. But again, as we showed last year in the final, it's not that they can't be shook. It's not that they can't have miscommunications and stuff like that. So I think you're right. I think we just got to bring it to them, not be afraid of the name on the jersey. I think that that's mostly died, I would say, after last year's final win, at least as far as
Yeah.
Nanu's concerned. But that man could, with Marcel Bracchi and Teo in the back line, they can turn on some electricity. And I promise you, they will make us pay for mistakes if we're reckless out there. But
Yeah.
I think we are the best defensive team in the league, if not
Yeah.
the second best. So we're very good.
Yeah, I think we have the fewest tries against still, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one
we're
stat.
sitting
It's
at
not.
20. Oh, Legion's at 23 actually. So we have
Ooh,
26 and they're at 23. So they have slightly better try against, but we do have fewer points against.
yeah.
So, it's like baseball. You just pick the one that you like the most, one that makes you
Just
look the
another
best.
stat that is a pick 'em though, as we've
Yeah,
gone over those.
yeah,
So
yeah. It's a
yeah.
really good point. It's a really good point that it's like, if you look just at tries, we're better. If or they're better. If you look at
Well,
total
Dave,
points, we're better.
speaking of stats, again, I'm not going to go through it, but if you go to MLR.com and you look at the player stat tables, like most tackles, most points, conversion, kicking, all
Mm-hmm.
this other stuff, I thought it was very curious, man. You see like a free jack pretty much in every category. You don't see any San Diego Legion. I thought that was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Again, not an indicator that they're a bad team by any stretch of the imagination, but
Mm-hmm.
very wild to see in all of these major stat categories that the MLR tracks, you don't see any Legion players.
Yeah, it kind
Weird.
of indicates more of a platoon effort, I think, where
Yeah,
where
for sure.
everybody's putting their hand up. I think the Free Jacks were in that position a couple seasons ago, where we didn't have a guy in first. We'd have maybe a guy in fifth and a guy in sixth. Like two
Yeah.
guys who were pulling heavy shifts, and sharing that work, especially in the tries category. I think at one point we had like three guys in the top 10 for tries scored, and it was just crazy, like very even with each other. Like we spread the love, and then Paula Balacana ran away with it because that's what he does.
For sure. For sure. So it's definitely going to be a heated match. I think it's going to be a very difficult one to win again because we're on the road and it's across the country. It's one of the farthest trips any team has to do. Luckily, we're not Seattle. I mean, pretty much anytime Seattle travels, they're screwed, no matter where they're
Yeah.
going from the Pac Northwest. But, the team has put a lot of effort. We've spoken to TK over the years about refining their processes, how early they get out there, how they go about their business traveling. So I feel like the team will travel well. Hopefully, we don't suffer the same woes we suffered early on week 2 of the 2023 season with the diverted flight and people getting sick and going
Yeah.
out there and kind of laying an egg. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope there are a lot more. I hope it's smooth travel for the boys going out there because they're definitely going to need it. I think this is going to be a tough match.
Yeah, you're gonna want everything to click. It wouldn't be an episode if I didn't talk about my buddy Wes, and he told me he might sees it maybe as a little bit of a get right match for the Free Jacks, which I like. I'd love to see. I told him I was being very honest. I'll be honest here. I said I kind of feel like I might pick against the Free Jacks for the first time since we started the show. I mean, if
Wow. Don't
if
do that, Dave. I did that.
well, I know. I'd love to be wrong, right? I was saying if I'm ever going to pick against them, it's got to be when we've got a bunch of injuries. We're traveling to a really tough opponent. Like this,
Yeah.
the cards are kind of stacked against us here. And he was like, I hear you, but I think you might be wrong. I think it might be a get right match. So we could see the Free Jacks come in here against an opponent. We know they've been looking to hit their stride, right? And
Right.
that, like, I can agree with very much. We know these guys have been a little bit out of step, and we've all just kind of been waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? Like at some point, they're gonna click a little bit, and elements have all worked really well at times, but we haven't seen that much time where everything was just clicking and we were like, oh, hell yeah. Like, our defense is stifling every turnover. We're getting major gains. We're keeping the ball. We're making, smart, heady plays. None of these silly. I mean, we've seen a lot of like losing the ball after a big break this season, right? Like waiting for those things to go away. And then when that happens, you go, yeah, all right, we're super lethal. That this could be that get right game, and if it is, I feel like it kind of needs to be for them to get this win. That they're going to need to go out and make a little bit of a statement on the road against a really challenging team that's going to be out for blood. Man, San Diego really wants to beat New England.
For
I
sure.
always get a little bit more scared of a team when we beat them on the last meeting. I think it's an extra motivation, and to be facing the team you beat in the finals. We talked about everybody's going to be getting, their blood up to play the Free Jacks. Well, I can
This
guarantee you,
is going to be the
San
one.
Diego's blood will be up.
I
Yeah,
mean, it's had to have been circled. What's their coach's name? Danny Lee or something like that.
yeah,
Had to have been circled since week one. And here's the thing, like you, Dave, I have my doubts about this match. I do believe it's an uphill battle. I'm not going to go as far. We'll get to score predictions here in a moment. I'm not picking against the Free Jacks. Spoiler alert! I promised Uncle Phil that I wouldn't do it. I think it was the 2021 season or 2022 or something. I picked against them on the show when Atlanta came. I think it was the first match at Fort Quincy. I picked against them. Not a good look for good old Bozo here. So not going to be doing that this time. But what's funny is when we do our preseason, our silly season stuff, and we go over the record. Like when I'm looking at games, I already kind of circled this one as like an L. I'm like, we're traveling
yeah.
across the country. We're playing them. We beat them by 1 point in the final. They're still a stacked team. They're gonna be pissed. Like so,
Right.
like, and that now
Yeah,
just add all those injury stuff with all the context that we did not have then that we do have now. So it's like, hey, this one's a danger game. But I like Wes's attitude on this one. I'm gonna ride that wave.
yeah, it's
I'm
good.
riding that one.
Um, yeah,
So
it
you want
should
to go to
be
keys of the
should be
game or
interesting.
what?
Yeah, we can. I'll give mine first. Mine is
Sure.
pedal to the metal. I think we're going to have to win it through pace. And I mean both pace of play and speed. Um, that's where we can push an advantage against them. If we let them slow it down a lot, the old boys will have already won. We're going to need discipline to do it because one of the best ways to slow a game down is, oh, okay, we'll kick for the line out, take our time getting over there, take our time getting the ball in. Every penalty you give up is a lot of time off the clock. And that time off the clock is all those guys resting, getting a breather. They don't have to run around. They don't have to play rugby. So discipline will be an element, but I think overall pace is going to be the most important.
It's interesting you brought that up. I saw an interesting short online today, and it kind of references that. I'll go over it quickly here because I think it is worth mentioning. Rassi Erasmus, the Springboks head coach there, or part of his coaching group. I don't know who the head coach is. It's like him or the other guy. It doesn't matter. Anyway, they were talking about when they analyzed France for their quarterfinal match in the Rugby World Cup. They noticed that they would kick a lot, and then the other teams would just kick it back to them. And he found like a wrinkle in the rules where they could just call for a scrum, and it made all because they noticed that their forwards wouldn't move. They just wait to be put
Right.
on side, saving their energy. And so they just sapped them by just continuously calling scrums and then kicking it to make them run all the way down the field and then make them run all the way back, and also to set a nice platform for the kick. And I thought that was interesting. So I think maybe there's something in the cards. I'll also mention, I feel like there's something weird in the water with this Free Jack side when we kind of don't expect them to win, or we're kind of already prepping our minds as fans, like the Austin Jabronis match, like Houston this year. We're kind
Yeah.
of like, we could see him drop in this game, yada, yada, yada. And then, Scott Matthew that depth, that coaching staff. They work some kind of voodoo, man. Some
Yeah.
magic comes out, and then we're smiling and dancing on graves afterwards, and it's great. But for my key to the game, we've talked a lot. We talked to Coach, Phil talked to Coach Matthew about 22 entrances and what our percentages are. And we've talked about how the scrum was under pressure for a couple of weeks. We fixed it, but then as soon as we fixed it, the line out went to absolute hell and all this other stuff. Like, listen, I know it's never going to be perfect, that we're going to win every scrum, win every line out or whatever. But one of the things that really frustrates me when I watch the game is we lose key moments. Okay.
Yeah.
When they're threatening and bang, we get a turnover, bang, we get a penalty, bang, now we're down 5 meters out and we just throw it away, overthrow, something. Like, it's like every moment that as a coach, as a player, every moment that they earn, they seem to throw away in those key moments. And it could be, and it's a momentum shifter. It's like, hey, we're down 8-3 or whatever it is. These moments, we lose these key moments. I feel like I wish I could have the discipline to watch every minute of every match over and over and over again so I could count them up. This is just a feeling of mine. I could be completely wrong. The stats might not back me up, but I just have this overwhelming gut feeling that we just lose too many key moments. Whatever you could define a key moment as. So my key to the game is we got to win the key moments. Get Connor keyed up for the key moments.
Keyed up. I love it. Put it on a t-shirt. Get Connor keyed up.
Put it on a t-shirt, order it from Inkify. Mention TJRS, get 15% off. That's go. Right.
I still want to make my King Bellicana t-shirt. Just Paul Bellicana's smiling face with a little crown on top. That's all.
They gotta start paying us. Listen, no text. Whoever's at the merch store at the Free Jacks, like, you're getting free info right here.
Oh, I'd buy it. I'd buy that t-shirt in a heartbeat.
I know you
I think that's a great key. I think you're absolutely right. We have lost too many key moments. I've been breaking down those set piece and it's been painful at times to just look at like how many, and sometimes you get like a second bite at the apple. We'll like mess it up, but they'll mess up and we get a second go and then we mess that one up too. And it's like, guys, you can't make two set piece errors in their 22 in a row.
Brutal.
It is. So I think that's good. Man, if we get both of those things right, we get high pace and we get our set piece right, I think they're going to make some sad San Diego fans.
This is a team that, like I said, that I don't want to, I'm not going to go over it person for person, but they pretty much they had a couple key out, but like they had a lot of the same guys, and especially some of the same danger guys that we've mentioned, like Peterson, etc., on the field for that 33-0 loss. And so I think it's possible. But our San Diego guy out here, Velhim, did mention that they were down a lot of players for the match, so that also highly contributes to losing 33-0 when you're playing shorthanded the entire match, for sure.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's hard, and a team like I was just gonna say a team like Houston will make you pay for it a lot.
Yeah, actually, I'm sorry. Before we go to score predictions, I did want to mention this really quickly because we did mention Gitto at 10, but do not write off Lincoln McClutchy, man. Hawks, see guy, he's electric. He's electric guy. If we are fortunate enough to have Patras out there, he'd be a familiar foe across the field in Lincoln McClutchy. I'm sure he knows him well. Probably been playing against him for years. So, yeah, he's also a danger man for San Diego, and I expect him to be probably starting in the 10 shirt on Sunday.
Yeah, you're legit when you're keeping Matt Gitto out of the jersey, right?
Well, and he's 40. So.
Well, right, yeah, a little easier off the bench, but yeah, McClutchy has really been important for them this season. They're one of the big problems is nobody sucks.
Yeah,
they're just one of those teams where it's, you can point to just about any position and you're like, okay, yeah, he's pretty good. Okay, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
It'll be interesting. I can't wait. Do you want let's do score prediction?
Yeah, I'll go first if you want.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
All right, so I'm gonna go. I think this one's just gonna be tight, just like last year's final. But I'm gonna edge it slightly more towards us. I'm gonna go New England 26, San Diego 24.
I like it. 2-point margin. I went a little bit. I think maybe everybody's coming off a bye week. We're all feeling good. They'll be scoring more, so I bumped it up a little bit. 31-29. Probably stupid since these are the two best defenses in the league, but that's what we went with. And for extra drama, Matt Giteau misses a conversion
Wow.
for that would have tied it up, and we walk away with the lead. We'll see.
Wow. I thought right there when you did that little pause after for a little bit of drama, I thought you were gonna be like, and it's San Diego 31. I thought you were gonna, I thought you were
Little
gonna
flip.
yeah, a little okey doke there. I thought you were
No,
gonna do
no.
that.
We'll back the boys. We'll back the boys.
Yeah,
I think it really is an interesting question. Would you, do you want uh do you want the 41, 42-year-old superstar, or do you want the 25, 26-year-old, kid? Now, and I don't mean to be dismissive by saying kid, but when you're talking about playing somebody who's almost 20 years older than you, that's a big difference. That's
I
a
mean, he was playing
generational
Super Rugby when he
difference.
was born, pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah, exactly. So, I
Yeah.
mean, who do you want? Do you want the younger, very skilled player with a lot to prove, or do you want the older player who has proven it all and still has it, but I think is can be vulnerable to getting outworked a little bit, because just enjoying love of the competition only goes so far. I think that fire
Right.
in your belly, um, of youth may put him over the edge, but
And
I don't
and
know. We'll see. It's going to be a hell of a game. 4 o'clock on Sunday.
That's it. With so just as a reminder, I will be kicking off a live stream watch along at 3:45. So please jump in the chat right now. I'll be riding solo. I know that the fans are crushed that they won't hear Uncle Phil's silky voice up here in the bunker. He's been skipping these watch alongs. Dang it, that Uncle Phil traveling. You're going to try to get Dan from Merrimack up here. If you're in the Seacoast, New Hampshire area, please be sure to stop by Locals, hang
Yeah.
out with our folks up there. Please, other fans, get some sort of other watch parties going. I know the team is not doing one. They have done them in the past. Those are always fun if you can get out to those. Yeah, I don't really have anything else, Dave. You got anything else?
No, that's about it. Let's go Free Jacks, and let's go Rats.
Yeah, and let's go Hounds, I guess, sort of. I feel
Yeah,
weird
we
saying that
hate.
as a Mystic guy.
I know we hate the Hounds, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a major conflict. Do I like New England more than I hate the Hounds? It's difficult. It's
It's
an
tough.
ethical question.
It's a tough call. I guess you got to back the hometown or back the guys from your
Yeah,
area. They're the winners, right? So they get out
yeah,
there. All right. Well, with that being said, we will call it an episode. I think a pretty lengthy preview, but I
yeah.
loved it. We had a good time, Dave. So we'll be
Absolutely.
signing off, and everybody knows what we're saying in 3, 2, 1.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!